Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum. Here with some words of wisdom to start your day. And I just saw the coolest thing ever. Of course, I go into Facebook to set this live up. And good morning, Abigail. Welcome. You're the first one here today. Welcome, welcome. I was on my personal page, and the first thing that popped up was a scooter, a granny scooter, shaped like a dragon, an orange dragon, and the wings flapped, and I'm like, hell yes. So I sent that off to some of my peeps, and we'll see what they think. Maybe we can get a whole, what would you call that? A pod of dragons? I don't know. But I just thought it was so cool. Too bad it didn't come in colors. The orange was fabulous, but I personally would go for green, and I'm sure I know some peeps who would go for purple. So we'll just kind of go with that. Good morning, Joe Neal. Welcome, welcome. Yes, absolutely. Sending lots of prayers to Kennedy. All kinds of good energy headed her way. Good morning, Angie. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the sparkles. So if everybody wants to send some energy to Kennedy, healing, recovery, grieving the loss of her dog, healing her little body. She had a surgery, 2 surgeries. So just sending good energy. Send good energy wherever you think there is a need. Lately I've been sending good energy to the kids as they're walking to school. Getting to the end of the school year, and I remember for myself, once we got to the end of April, beginning of May, I'm like, can this just get on with it? So, yes, sending energy to all corners. To my friend Sue, who has a birthday tomorrow. My friend Carol, who has a birthday tomorrow. My friend Candy, who has a birthday tomorrow. Yes. All good stuff. And today's message, spot on. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you are here. Hello, hello, hello. Everybody popping on. My counter says 3. Yeah, right. It ain't 3. We know that, right? So, this chapter, and I tested for the book. It's Outrageous Openness. But I picked the chapter based on just looking through the chapter guide, and page 73 jumped out at me. So I thought, well, let's go with it and see what it has. And perfectly aligned for me today, because I'm actually meeting with the pastor from the church that I've been working with. And as I go through this process, we're hitting 2 years, there have been these bouts of doubt. Like, what am I doing? How am I ever going to get this done? How's this ever going to work? Blah, 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 blah. So the first thing I saw on my desk was my little piece of birch bark that says, breathe and believe. And I thought, okay, well, that's a good place to start for the day. So I sat here and did some breathing as I waited for it to become light and time to chat with all of you. And then the chapter came up. So, Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead by Tosha Silver. Page 73. Let's breathe. Nice deep breath in and out. And I love how your names just keep rolling. Hello, Beth. In, out, filling up, in, out, releasing all that no longer serves, all the doubt, all the fear, all the concerns, all the yeah buts, the what ifs, out it goes on the breath. Chapter is entitled, Be What You Seek. And this part is called, Your Word is Your Law. Your word is your law. The quote is by Anonymous. Thoughts are boomerangs, returning with precision to their source. Choose wisely what you throw. I'm never going to figure this out. Things just don't work out for me. I'm always behind the 8 ball. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. Good morning, Mel. Good morning, good morning. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Practical rebels. If we think about that title that we've given ourselves, what does it mean? It means continuing to keep moving forward. It means paying attention to what are the messages and guidance we're getting. So here's the message and guidance for today. Be what you seek. Your word is your law. So let's see what she has to tell us, because we know it's always going to be cheeky and fun, right? A strange metaphysical truth. Prosperity is never conditional upon the state of your bank account, but on the state of your mind. Mic drop. A strange metaphysical truth. Prosperity of all kinds is never conditional upon the state of your bank account or other external things, but on the state of your mind. Matrika Shakti is the Sanskrit term for the supreme power of one's own word. What you say, what you believe comes into being. As Mike Dooley from Tut from the Universe would say, thoughts become things. Thoughts become things. So what thoughts are you sowing and what things are you reaping? We craft our world by what we say. So here's her stories to demonstrate that to us. 2 women called me from opposite ends of the spectrum. One, named Marie, was a savvy entrepreneur who sold an internet company at the start of the tech boom. Overnight, she became a multimillionaire who owned several houses around the world. Yet she called me to say, do you know how hard it is to live on $2 million a year? With my expenses? Seriously, it's not much. Every night I seethe in regret that I didn't sell my company for more. I can barely sleep. I was so flabbergasted, I spit my tea all over the phone and had to run for a towel. Really? I laughed, wiping the receiver. Then why not sell a couple of the homes? Does your happiness really depend on 5? Oh, I never could, she protested. I've waited all my life for them, but no one will believe me. I'm often broke. She continued to call often to bemoan her resources. One day, I had finally had it. Can you see Tosha Silver getting to the had it point? I said, Marie, I adore you, but listen. I've never owned a house, and I live in an apartment, yet I feel like the frickin' Queen of England whenever we talk. I mean, how do I have more than enough, but you don't? So are you ready to change how you talk about money? I didn't hear from her again for a long time. Surprise, surprise, because oftentimes when we point out to somebody, when we call out their crap, they're not ready to deal with it, and so they give us leave. She'll be back. Then she called out of the blue to say she'd declared bankruptcy. Through a series of strange upheavals, she'd lost almost everything. Her word of poverty had indeed become her law. She set it up. She created it. She made it happen. Right? And when we're in victim stance, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that we're powerful, that our words are powerful, that we are choosing to paint our tapestry with poverty. We don't want to hear that. It's important we hear it anyway. So here's Lori. Meanwhile, Lori, the other client, lives a modest life, but exists in a true state of grace. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. Her gratitude and openness pretty much draw whatever she needs. Parking spots beckon in crowded neighborhoods. Extra jobs arrive for extra expenses. Loyal friends fall from the sky. And she wasn't always like this. She used to be a jealous Taurus who seriously resented anyone else's good fortune. But she taught herself a new way to be. We have cortex here, folks. We can make decisions. We can consciously change how we approach our thoughts, our lives, the whole enchilada, right? She always says, I have no idea how, but miracles constantly arrive. My needs are always met. Recently, she felt an urge to travel to Asia, but had no superfluous funds. Undeterred, she invoked divine order and just waited. She said, "If I meant to go, let the perfect conditions come. Otherwise, let me be content where I am." So think about that. We could apply that little phrase, that little paragraph, to everything, right? If this is meant to be, let the perfect conditions come. Otherwise, let me be content where I am. It's a variation of the this or something better, right? She was cool either way. The day before she needed to buy her ticket, a neighbor called who made films. He asked if he could rent her home for a shoot, offering her the exact travel amount. Have you had that happen? I've had that happen. I've told this story a bazillion times, but I'm going to tell it again. There was a training that I wanted to go to in the boondocks in Colorado. Like you took trains, planes, and automobiles to get there, right? One of those places. And all I was focused on was the amount of money I needed for the training itself. For whatever reason, I wasn't even thinking about airfare, lodging, rental car, all the stuff. Good morning, Sue. Glad you're here. So I had a group that practiced this technique. And because I know me, if I don't practice something, it atrophies and I forget to use it. So once a month, we'd get together, all of us newbies, and practice the technique. Well, so this particular, it was a Friday we met at my office, and I said, I want to practice using this technique to manifest the money for this training. And I want to say it was like $3,000. And so we did the process, and I laughed and I said, okay, let's see what happens. That was a Friday. On Monday, I got a check. I think it was $4,300. What it was Cigna Insurance got sued by the American Psychological Association for their discriminatory practices against psychologists. So, like, I don't know, 9 months earlier or something, we'd had to fill out paperwork, how many clients I had seen in a certain chunk of time that had Cigna insurance, how many sessions we had, blah, blah, blah. In other words, how much I had been underpaid. So I laughed with my administrative assistant and I said, okay, 6 years from now, we'll see $70 or something. Nope. 9 months later, $4,300 showed up. So this or something better. I had asked for the amount that would have been the training, $3,000. It gave me airfare, lodging, food, the whole thing. So ask. Expect it. Expect it to come your way in divine right timing, divine right order. If I'm meant to go, let the perfect conditions come. Otherwise, let me be content where I am. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. If this is meant to be, let the perfect conditions come. Otherwise, let me be content where I am. So here's another one related to Lori, the person who's content where she is. Another time, she waited in Manhattan for a bus during a blizzard, sorry that she had forgotten her shawl. Spying a wool scarf a few feet away on the snowy sidewalk, she walked over and put it on, laughing that it was fuchsia, the color of her coat. The Shakti as perfect stylist. I've joked that she has so much faith and generosity, the angels compete to help her. There's nothing she needs that doesn't arrive in one surprising way or another, sometimes in the final hour. That's a good philosophy to have, Barb. Absolutely a great philosophy to have. Now that's abundance. And again, we get so wound up in abundance just being monetary. There are so many kinds of abundance. Like I'm thinking about that this morning in terms of my coffee group, who I chat with next. Sue is a part of my coffee group. I love these women. They feed my heart and soul. I come away feeling filled up. It is a great group of people. Will we be together forevermore? Amen? Probably not. We've been together a lot of years. pushing 10, I would say, probably pushing 10. And we carry each other home. We support each other, we tease each other, we have fun together, we link arms, hold each other up. That is the abundance. That is the abundance. So, what are you asking for right now? What are you asking for that you need? What are you looking to manifest? And in fact, I got to show you my latest little dove bar. And it says, manifest it and you'll make it happen. So that's sitting right here by all my rocks and my little stuff that reminds me we have way more power than we think we do. We have the right to use that for our benefit and the benefit of others. Again, make this a mantra for yourself. If this is meant to happen, let the perfect conditions come. Otherwise, let me be content where I am. This or something better. This or something better. Ask and you shall receive. And know that if something doesn't show up, it's either not divine right timing yet, or something better's on its way. There's a different plan. There's a different plan. So, nice deep breath in, everybody. Out. Opening yourselves to receiving that which is in alignment with our highest purpose and what we're here to serve for others. Have an awesome Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.